Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel Cakes by MK. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a super gorgeous golden strawberry cake. But the best part about this video is I've got a mind-blowing trick coming up to show you guys how to make your strawberries a beautiful golden color. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up below because it really helps with the YouTube algorithm, which means more people get to see my videos. Apart from that, let's get right into this video. So I'm starting off with crumb coating my cake. So I've got a 10-inch cake board, I've got some vanilla Swiss meringue buttercream which I'm going to be using to ice my cake with, and then I've got 3 6-inch cake layers that I'm going to use to build my cake. Now I'm starting off by placing some buttercream onto my cake board so that my cake doesn't move around. Then I'm putting my first layer on top, which is my chocolate cake layer, followed by some more buttercream which I'm smoothing out with my offset spatula. Then I'm placing my next cake layer on top, and this time it's my vanilla cake layer, and then I'm smoothing out some more buttercream on top of that. Then I'm finishing off with my final chocolate cake layer, and then I'm going to cover the entire cake with a thin layer of buttercream. Now I'm just finishing off my crumb coat by running my spatula around the cake to smooth the buttercream out and then cleaning up the top. Okay, so that's my crumb coat done, and now this cake is going to go into the fridge for about 30 minutes for the buttercream to firm up. So my buttercream has firmed up now and I'm ready to put another coat of buttercream on. Now I'm just giving my buttercream a mix as this helps to remove air bubbles when your buttercream has been sitting for a while. Now I'm just starting off by smoothing out the top of the cake, and then I'll cover the sides and smooth that out with my cake scraper. Now I'm just filling in any gaps with more buttercream before I smooth out the cake again and clean up the top. Okay, now this cake is going to go into the fridge for about an hour for the buttercream to firm up. So it's been an hour now, and I'm going to go ahead and very gently scrape the cake again so that everything becomes super smooth. Now with this technique, you're basically scraping cold buttercream and a thin layer comes off the top of the buttercream. This is one of my favorite ways of getting nice sharp edges on a cake too. Now you just want to keep in mind though that this cold scraping technique doesn't work with all buttercreams, but I can say for sure that it does work with meringue based buttercreams and ganache. Now when you're using this technique, it also helps to wipe off your scraper before you scrape your cake, just like I've done here. Now next I'm adding another layer of buttercream, which is going to be the layer that my drips come off of to give me this cool halfway drip effect. So I'm just starting off by placing buttercream all around the bottom, then I begin shaping the top so that I've got a wavy kind of pattern. Now once I've gotten all my icing on, I'm just smoothing it out with my cake scraper. Next I'm using my offset spatula to smoothen out the ridges that have kind of formed on the top of my outer layer of buttercream, and this is going to create a nice flat surface for my drips to fall off of. Now once I've done that, I'm scraping the excess buttercream off and cleaning up the cake. So as I was flattening that top part of the buttercream, I kind of scraped into my inner layer of buttercream, so I'm just smoothing it out again by applying some buttercream on the cake and then smoothing it out. Okay, now this cake is going to go into the fridge for about an hour because our buttercream needs to be cold before we add our drips to our cake. Now in the meantime, we're going to work on our strawberries. So what I've got here is some white melted chocolate that I'm going to cover my strawberries with. Then I've got my strawberries. I've also got some toothpicks because these are going to help with handling the strawberries, and I'm just dropping them everywhere. And then I've got some scissors in a tray with some parchment paper on it. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the tops of the strawberries so they're a little neater. Now next I'm going to poke a toothpick into the top of the strawberry where the stem is. Now to coat my strawberries, I'm simply going to dip one right into my melted chocolate, and I'm just moving it around in a circular motion so that it's fully covered. Now once you've lifted up the strawberry, give it a little twirl and shake to get rid of any of that excess chocolate, and then place it onto your parchment paper. And now you're just going to do the same thing with the remaining strawberries. Now don't get too excited like me and shake it around too much, otherwise it's going to fly off your toothpick. Now once all your strawberries are covered, they're going to go into a freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes until the chocolate is set. Now you know your chocolate is ready when it easily comes off your parchment paper and is solid when you tap the chocolate. Now this is the exciting part. So to make your strawberries golden, all you need to do is pour some sprinkles into a bowl. I'm just using some good old hundreds and thousands, and then what you want to do is add in some luster dust. So I added in about half a teaspoon and then just give that a good mix. Now once that's all mixed up, simply grab a strawberry and move it around in the sprinkle mixture, and you will end up with the most beautifully coated chocolate strawberry. I mean, how gorgeous does that look, and how easy was that to do? And then once all your strawberries are done, we are going to set them aside while we work on our chocolate drip. So my buttercream is firm and cold now, but before I add my chocolate drip, I'm just using the cold buttercream scraping technique to get everything really nice and smooth. Now for my chocolate drip, I'm using a white chocolate ganache which I have in a sauce bottle, and I'm going to start off by doing a test drip. Now if you're a little clumsy like me, then you want to watch out for any excess getting onto your cake, and I've just cleaned mine up with my offset spatula. So I'm happy with my first drip, so I'm going to go ahead and start adding the rest of my drips onto my cake. Now if you're not quite sure how to make a ganache for a drip cake, then I do have a more in-depth tutorial on this which I'll post a link to below. I think drips are probably one of the most satisfying things to watch. Okay, so this is going to go into the fridge again for about an hour to let the ganache drips set so we can paint them. So to paint my drips, I've just made a simple paint out of luster dust, the same one that I used to cover my strawberries with, and a little bit of water, and I'm using that to paint my cake. I do have a more in-depth tutorial on how to make edible gold paint, and I'll post a link to that below if you want to check it out. So I'm just starting off with a first coat. Now if you accidentally get some on your buttercream like I do all the time, you can just get another brush that's been dabbed in some water and use that to clean up some of that extra paint. Now I'm just going over the drips again with a second coat. Now, I don't know why, but I randomly thought it would be a great idea to start painting the top of the cake, and I usually only do this with luster dust when I'm painting a buttercream cake, not a paint. But I instantly regretted it and then frantically started to try and rescue my cake. I started wiping off the paint and then scraped off the buttercream, which thankfully worked out really well. Now I'm just finishing off by smoothing out all the edges, and then my gold drip is done. So to finish off decorating, I've just got some buttercream in a piping bag with a 1M star tip on it, and I'm going to do some piping on the top of my cake. Now once that's done, I'm simply going to place a strawberry on top of each of my buttercream swirls. And then once all my strawberries are on, my golden strawberry cake is all done. Now just before I finish, I wanted to really quickly tell you guys that my new website is finally up and all my courses can now be directly purchased from my website so that you don't have to kind of go to any other platform to, have access to my courses, and I'll post a link to those courses below. Apart from that, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this, and thanks again for watching Cakes by MK.